All right, perfect. Okay, hey guys. All right, so quick introduction for people who don't know me. We're gonna like sort of jump in sort of right away because technically starting a little bit late, just a little bit. But okay, so for people who don't know me, I'm Natter. I've been coaching for a very long time. I even lost track how long. But before that, I used to play a lot. I used to shot call, about low tier 3, I'd say, and I was sort of known for shot calling. Was pretty bad mechanically, but known for shot calling. Eventually, I sort of realized that I like Overwatch theory and strategies and optimization and stuff like that. So I decided to move into coaching. And now I have sort of coached, all over. I have coached in South America contenders, which is sort of low if you think about it. It's like NA tier 3. I have coached in EU contenders, probably one of the best in GOATs, or they are the best in GOATs. EU trials, currently in PAC contenders. I have worked with AU contenders teams, I have worked with Chinese contenders teams, and I have worked in top tier 3 in pretty much every single region. Yeah, including Korea, and that was fun, let me tell you. The language barrier, ooh, that was fun. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I would do introductions, but like, so we don't have a lot of time. So I'm just going to go, like I said, straight into it. So this session is going to really be focused on GOATs. A lot of people are saying GOATs is going out of meta and whatnot. Pros and other people like that don't think GOATs will necessarily fully go out of meta. GOATs will still be played on points where there is not a lot of high ground, so bunker isn't an option, and other places where dive isn't really an option. Because if it's just all low ground, GOATs is better than dive. How I think it's going to work is it's going to be bunker counters GOATs, GOATs counters dive, dive counters bunker. And it'll continue the rock, paper, scissors meta, in my opinion. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I've only done one PTR scrim.
That would be cool if that happens.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting for sure. So as I said, we're gonna focus on GOATs. Can someone tell me what GOATs is and what are some of the types of GOATs comps?
There are quite a few GOATs comps. There's normal GOATs with the Moira. There's Zen GOATs. There's Somber GOATs, which right now is probably the most powerful GOATs just because it has a lot of utility.
Mm-hmm.
There's Dive GOATs, which has a monkey instead of a Reinhardt. Usually you want a Zen because he's more valuable for the monkey than the Moira would be.
Okay. Anyone else? What else? What else we have?
For GOATs, is really important to have a Lucio and a Brig because the Brig and Lucio can really help the Reinhardt engage and disengage in a lot of situations.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else that wants to add anything else? No. Okay. So hey, let's talk about just all the different GOATs comps that are there. There is Ana GOATs, there is Zen GOATs, there is Ana Sombra GOATs, there is Sombra GOATs with Zen now, there is Moira GOATs, there is Floats or Dive GOATs. You can play that with Zen or Moira. And the last one, which you haven't seen a lot of, is Lucio, Zen, Ana GOATs. Okay? With that, there is no break. Okay, so now that we've sort of talked about different ones, I'm going to sort of go into each one and sort of just dissect it a little bit, explain why it's used, why is it used, how is it played, and sort of what counters it. A lot of GOATs sort of, they have different reasons and they sort of counter different things, okay? So let's talk about Ana GOATs first, okay? Let me also invite you all to this visor first because it's semi-important to have access to this. So I'll be drawing up on here. Okay, and the coaching corner, there it is. I just put a link in there. And yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me know. I'll give you like a few seconds. If someone, you might have to make an account if you haven't made an account, Visor account yet.
The video in the background is playing, by the way.
Is it really? Why don't I hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you in Chrome?
I can hear it. Yeah.
Do you think it's important to memorize all those callouts? Like Ali, statue,
No.
main,
Just the main ones.
Right.
Okay, let's get a better view of this 1 second. Oh, I won't. Just give me what I want. Wait. Is anyone not in this yet? Okay. Yep.
I'm in.
I'm not in yet. I'm coming.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not either.
Okay, no, take your time. It's fine. Alright, so while you guys are getting in, I'm just going to sort of just talk briefly, okay? So, Ana GOATs, okay? What is Ana GOATs? Ana GOATs is basically, GOATs without Zen, and you replace it with an Ana. Now, why is this run, okay? This is run because with Ana, you get the value of more heals, and you get the value of an anti, or you get a value of like the biotic nade, right? Which means you can get antis. So on certain maps where there's high ground, right, you can set your Ana up high ground, and when the enemy team engages, the Ana can look for that anti. And since, you know, normally teams who play goats depend on heals, if you're able to get an anti on the enemy team, your team has such a big advantage because they can't heal those people, and you can push and kill them, right? So that's sort of how Ana Goats is played, right? Now, if we look at King's Row, right, we sort of talk about where would you really want to set up an Ana. One option is sort of over here. This is called Clock 1. Okay, so you could hide an Ana here. There's another, you know, area over there. That's called Clock 2. You could put an Ana there. There's also like the Widow Perch. You could hide Ana there too. Okay, so there's different options. And what you want to do is you want to wait for the team to sort of engage you, right? So the enemy team will sort of come in, right? They don't know sort of what you're running, and the Ana will come out and look for a nade, and then your team, the defending team, will then push up and try and kill the attacking team because they have the anti. Now, let's say the enemy team is smart, okay? Let's say the enemy team is smart. Is anyone familiar with the term like scouting? Using Sombra to scout?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Or D.Va, okay. Normally you go with Sombra, and the reason why you go with Sombra is because D.Va can, you know, sort of get, like, not necessarily farmed, but can take damage. So in Sombra you can't see. The enemy can't see. So the attacking team, whenever you've got spawn advantage, you normally want to send a Sombra in, right? And you want to scout, okay? So in this situation, attacking team will send a Sombra in. They will scout and see, you know, what the enemy team is running, okay? When this situation then they'll figure out, okay, maybe they've got an Ana, maybe they've got a Zen, you know, they've got goats, they'll figure it out. Then they'll back out, they'll translocate back to spawn, and they'll try to counter, okay? Now, the biggest weakness with Ana goats is the fact that your Ana is separate from your team, right? If you're playing at any of these locations, right, your Ana is separate. The Widow, this isn't that great thing because you can't see everything, all the windows. Any of these locations you play, right, the Ana is not with the team because your team is going to be low ground near arches. So if the enemy team then looks to push in, okay, and realizes that you have Ana goats, what they can do is they can send their D.Va to go to force the Ana out, right, or just DM the Ana. And then if the Ana doesn't get nade, right, what do you think happens then if the Ana isn't able to pull off the anti?
She's not getting value.
It's one at a time. Sleepy, go. What'd you say, Sleepy?
You lose the fight because you can discord the Ryan and he has no more sustain.
Okay, perfect. What did you say? I think it was who was the first person to talk? I can't remember who it was.
Maybe
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just saying if she doesn't land the nade, then she's probably not getting value.
Exactly, right? So that's a big thing, right? So understanding exactly how to, you know, do that and force the Ana to not get value, and if she doesn't get that nade, right, she can't sustain or keep the Ryan up, which means that the other team, whether they're running Zen Goats or whatever it is, can then push the defending team and kill the Ryan. In most situations, right? So Zen Goats will counter this. Why? Because Zen Goats is a very aggressive comp. You don't have a lot of heals. You don't have heals like Ana Goats. You don't have heals like Moira Goats. You play very aggressive, right? So you discord a target, you push in, and you kill it, right? Does that make sense? Everyone aware of that? How Zen Goat sort of works?
Yep.
So since Ana Goat sort of is, they don't have discords and they don't have harmony orbs, right? You have to sort of play a little slower, play for the antis, right? And then try and, when you get the antis, and you push. Now, what's a comp you think it's even slower than Ana Goats? That's a type of Goats comp.
Sombra.
Moira goats?
Okay, that's good. All right, so Moira Goats is even slower. Why? Because Moira, you can't even... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Because Moira doesn't have a lot of utility aside from just healing and dealing damage.
Perfect, right? So yeah, Moira, you can't get an anti, right? You don't necessarily have a win condition. Your win condition as Moira is to sustain and keep your team up, and then maybe try and build Coalescence and maybe push with Coalescence, maybe. That's your win condition, okay?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Natter, sorry to interrupt. So as a D.Va player, in a Goats against Ana Goats matchup, it is kind of a bitch to reliably eat the Ana's abilities when going to contest her if the Ana knows what she's doing, especially after the Matrix nerf. So usually if I'm a D.Va, I expect to get slept and naded unless the Ana's a fucking bot. So that being said, as the D.Va going to contest the high ground, have I gotten my value if I force the Ana out for 2.5 seconds and she uses both cooldowns and then can go back to healing while I am
sleeping
or is there
sleeping
a way?
outside.
Yeah, exactly. Or any number of things. Even if I get out fine and eat one of the abilities, or eat the sleep dart, or I dodge it off, or I get woken out, like, is it more valuable that I wait to bait those out on myself and then go and contest her to keep her harassed, or is forcing the cooldowns out the more important component of contesting the Ana?
Okay, that's a good question, right? So biggest thing is understanding when to engage. So if you look at this diagram, right, you're over here, right? You first have to figure out where the Ana is, right? You need to understand where the Ana is. Once you figure out where the Ana is, then you can understand how to proceed, right? If the Ana is over here, right, you guys can play back here and chill as a team. And their team's all really back, right? Their team's probably over here. So you can then just go commit your D.Va and Lucio, not just a D.Va, and can go to like force the Ana out. If the Ana is further, clock 2 in that other area there, then you want to force up, play more up because you want to play with your D.Va, right? You don't want their D.Va going to well, sorry, they don't have a D.Va. Well, they have a D.Va. You don't want their D.Va going to go peel, right, for their Ana when your D.Va is going. So you need your team to pressure their team when you engage, right? So it's a matter of understanding that time when you engage, that you engage correctly. Your team pushes as soon as you push. So it's about coordination, right?
Gotcha.
And then the biggest thing is, like I said, is scouting where that Ana is. Because if you can figure out where that Ana is, then your life is so much easier, right? Because you know exactly where you're flying. So it's okay to take a few seconds, chill, sort of maybe try and look, scout a little bit. Maybe even you can even go take this little high ground here, right? And just do little peeksies. Look, if she's hiding here or here. Oh, she's not anywhere here. Okay, she's probably in one of those other windows there. And you can narrow it down, right? Does that answer your question?
I guess so. So basically, in conclusion, just to make sure that I have it correctly, it is more valuable. Sorry. To keep a little bit of damage pressure on her, make sure that she get some chip damage on her as you're fighting with your team, and then move up and then coordinate with my team when I'm going to go contest her. At that point, I'm synchronized with when my team is going to push, and then regardless of whether or not what happens to me, the fact that both cooldowns get forced out by my being there means that I've gotten value out of the fight, meaning we have more resources than they do.
Yes, as long as, like I said, you it's a synchronized thing, right? Your team commits when you commit as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So even if the Ana herself is only forced out from healing to for 2 to 3 seconds, and then she goes back to healing, the fact that the only reason they're running the Ana is for the grenade, the fact that they do not have it for the fight means that they're at an inherent healing disadvantage, even if the Ana is still alive.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes total sense, because I was caught in a limbo where basically in a goat's mirror, like if they are running the Ana goats, I felt like either I go up there and play very defensively so that I am able to keep her contested with like having a D.Va to deal with, even if she doesn't use her cooldowns on me, or I just go commit balls to the wall, get her to use all her cooldowns on me, and then she's only out of commission from the fight for maybe 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, but those 2 to 3 seconds is when your team attacks, obviously, and kills their Ryan, right? Because your Zen Goats anyways is incredibly fast. So
exactly. Okay, that makes total sense.
Also make sure that when you're committing, like even like when you commit, you're committing hard, right? So you're using DM correctly, you're using rockets correctly. Like you should technically, if you do it correctly, you might be able to like kill the Ana if the Ana just nades and sleeps into your DM, right? So
so as far as that is another thing that I wanted to ask, if you don't mind me taking out the time here. So basically, as D.Va engaging on an Ana, after the DM nerf, it's been very difficult to adjust my DM timing for how to play that engagement. Sorry, am I lagging, by the way?
No, you're good.
Okay, sorry, I saw my connection drop to red. I didn't know if I was, roboting. No, basically, because before it was you were able to flash Matrix once you saw the animation from her hip for the sleep dart, and then you could kind of just gauge the nade timing based on her HP bar and how Anas usually play. And you had enough time between them that you could flash Matrix both of them in a single engagement. That's really not the case anymore, and so I generally am resorting to blanket matrixing certain components of the fight while I shoot and press grenades. So is it a case of like I'm caught in a limbo where either I fly in without Matrix,
you
Matrix
definitely fly in without, because their Ana won't peek, right? A good Ana won't peek. If their Ana peeks, then it's super advantageous for you because you already know where she is, and then you can just sort of go the slow way, where like wherever she is, like she's over there, you can just sort of creep around. Maybe even your Lucio can come with you, and you both can just force her off, and your team can just stay passive, like play around statue here and just chill, while their team can't push you, right?
Because
So.
I remember, like, before, you would fly in and flash Matrix as you flew in to eat the sleep dart that she's going to reflexively throw at you.
Yeah.
But that's really seems like it's not the case anymore, where you gotta just like go in. So, because if you fly in with Matrix and then you have to put it down to save some of it, the engagement's already over by the time it comes off cooldown.
Yep.
So I just wanted a little more advice on how to play that Ana versus Diva
Yeah,
matchup.
so, like,
it's not difficult to kill her, but it's like
Yeah,
it's weird.
exactly. So the biggest thing is just understanding where, like, if you figure out where she is, then you can understand, like, if she's like. So the biggest thing is most Anas don't poke. Like, good, like if yours is a good team and they're a good player, they won't poke because they don't want to know where you are. If you do find out where the Ana is, it's fine. You can just go clock 1 and you can just sort of rotate around slow, refresh your Matrix when needed, and then push with the Lucio too if you really want to, and just force the Ana down. If you force the Ana down the other side near their spawn, other side of arches, that's great, right? Because then, again, they don't get value of nade, right? If we look at straight-up matchup between Zen Goats and Ana Goats, if they have a straight-up fight without any nades, Zen Goats will win.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
What about, say, in just like for the geometry of the map's sake, say you're running floats into an Ana comp on Numbani first point attack, and the Ana is top right in the hallway with the Zen or somebody else like they usually are in that standard position.
All right,
and your job as the Diva is to go
get there.
contest
Let's wait because I want to like keep talking. All right, so all right,
go on.
so,
Sorry, I got off track.
It's okay. All right, so that's Ana Goats for Zen Goats, right? So to counter Ana Goats, you run Zen Goats, you scout where the Ana is, and then you commit. Okay. Now let's talk about Moira Goats. When should you run Moira Goats? Okay, anyone know when you want to run Moira Goats?
When they have a
When it's
crap
not a
ton of
mirror
damage that
matchup?
can kill you.
Whoa.
Control points where it's really boxed in, like Nepal Village.
Okay. What did Moira say? Sorry, Moira, what'd you say?
I said when it's not a mirror match, like when it's not goats v goats.
Okay, interesting. Why would you? What would the other team run if it's not a mirror match? What do you mean, like?
They're running dive.
Okay.
Or they're running a bunker.
Okay. So if they're running dive, that means they're sort of doing like some kind of way of. Is it a dive? Like, I don't know if you were there for the previous talk about dive, but is it sort of like a Korean dive where they're like double pincer, they're gonna try and push you and kill you, or is it like a spam-based dive, or what type of dive is it?
Oh, I don't know. I just kind of had the assumption that Moira Goats was basically what you used against any non-Goats comp.
Okay. Yeah.
If they're running quad DPS though, and the Hammond decides to go behind you, Moira Goats isn't going to have as big of an advantage as Ana, because Ana can sleep the Hammond and
Okay.
ruin his day.
So, all right, let's talk about understanding Moira, right? So Moira basically has consistent heals, right? You're able to spam heals for as long as you need till you run out, right? Normally, if you use your juice correctly, when you run out, you'll almost have your ultimate, right? Everyone pretty much agree with that. So what you want to do is you want to use Moira Goats to actually counter quad DPS, triple DPS, some kind of spam, any type of comp that has basically spam. And the biggest counter, the biggest red flag is if you see the enemy have a Pharah, you probably want a Moira. Now, why is this? A Moira, right, first of all, Coalescence can counter the Pharah very, very, very well, right? Coalescence, you can Coalescence the Mercy. Your Diva can press the Mercy. Mercy's dead. You can go then for the Pharah. The Pharah is dead after, right? So that's pretty big. Now, besides that, you have the whole value of the fact that you've got a lot of heals that are AoE heals, right? And your team's always together. In Goats, your team's together, right? So if you use Moira and you spam heals in an area, your whole team gets value, right? So you build ult really fast, okay? So those are the major reasons why you run Moira. You run it to deal with spam, okay? Moira by itself is not a good pick. And the reason why you don't run Ana Goats against spam is because with Ana, you have to reload after 14 shots. And then on top of that, your ult doesn't really help necessarily with pharmacy. You can nano Diva, and you can sort of push the Pharah, but that doesn't, like, yes, you can maybe kill with that. You can do that, but, like, it's not optimal. And on top of that, the biggest thing is if the Pharah hits your Ana, right, you don't have, like, a way of, the way to heal yourself would probably be your other healers healing you, which is really bad. Like you never want to brig, like, healing your Ana because you want your Brig focusing on your Ryan because your Ryan needs all the abilities possible. Okay, so you might have to nade yourself. You might have to do something like that, which isn't that good because for Ana Goats, remember we talked about you want to use nades aggressively, right? You want to use nades for antis. That's the value you get. So for Moira, you can just use a heal orb and your whole team gets value, not even just yourself, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so that's Moira goats. All right, now before we talk about Sombra Ana goats, we're gonna quickly talk about just goats and sort of how it works, right? Goat is all about, let me get a better color. It's all about playing around Orion, right? So with playing around Ryan, you normally, the normal stuff you have is Eva Zarya, you have a Diva, you have a Brig, you have a Lucio, and you have a Zen. This is Zen goats, right? The normal thing. So, thanks. Sorry. Thanks for the bits. All right. So biggest thing, right? Now with this, what abilities do you dedicate to Ryan?
To, like, keeping your Ryan up or to the enemy Ryan?
Both. Let's do both. All right,
Everything.
Yeah, but what's everything?
Bubble.
Bubble.
Oh, I bubble.
Bubbles.
Okay.
Discord Harmony.
Brig armor pack.
DM.
DM.
Speed boost.
Okay, speed. Harmony. DM bubbles. Armor pack, right? Someone said, I think.
Yeah, Brig. Yeah.
I can't. It's so hard to write on this. Then you said for them, you said Discord, right? Are you missing anything? Brig armor, Zarya bubbles, Lucio speed. Okay, this should be good, right? Okay. So now, let's talk about how do you go about using this. So these are the abilities, right? This is like sort of what you want to go for. How do you go about using it optimally? How, like, if you were to have a fight, right? A fight, Zen goats versus Zen goats. How exactly do you take that fight?
I know that the person who uses bubbles first usually loses the fight just because you're not able to cleanse the Discord anymore.
Okay, okay. So you're saying, whoever uses bubbles first, you're not able to cleanse Discord. Okay, that's a interesting point. Okay, anyone else?
Maybe that's true for all of them. Just as long as you can hold them without losing anyone, the better off you'll be.
Okay, okay. Sounds good.
Generally, it's whoever it revolves around getting the Discord on the Rhine. If you're able to keep your Rhine from being discorded longer, and you can Discord their Rhine for a longer portion of the fight, you generally win.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's speed boost in, engage, armor pack on Ryan to give him the extra for the mitigated damage, and then when he's discorded or purple, I mean just discorded, he gets a bubble.
Okay. Okay.
Anything
else? Want to add anything else to that stuff?
Personally, you can go ahead. Okay. In my opinion, you don't really want to use a bubble just to remove a Discord. The bubble should be like using around like armor, or they're starting to just like do the one-shot Brig, Bash, Zarya, Diva fly-in, like type of thing. And bubble should be used then and not on the Discord, because the bubble is such a high energy, like such a important thing that just using it just for a Discord, which is an second cooldown.
I don't mean just for a Discord. I mean like if they Discord your Rhine, right? If you're a Discord or Reinhardt, you want to say go get the Rhine, because you guys can put a shit ton of damage into them with just Brig and Reinhardt, right?
Okay.
That's usually what I go for. It's just trying to get as much damage on him as possible before it forced them out abilities.
All right, this is good. You guys had some good ideas. I agree and disagree with a few of them, but I agree with a lot of them. All right, so let's talk about Mirror. All right, let's talk about first fight. Okay, so Goats is very different based on the fights. If you guys ever watch OWL, you watch Contenders, you'll notice that there are only certain fights teams can actually win. Goats has win conditions, right? Some of their basic, which is really simple win conditions, is grab bomb, right? Everyone's sort of aware of that one, right? So, and some other ones, you can be looking to try and win off things like, for example, let's say you rally. If you rally in aggressively and the enemy team has nothing, right? Rally is a really aggressive ult, which forces the enemy to use bubbles. If they don't use bubbles, then they can't sustain and they lose. So let's sort of talk about just a basic first fight, okay? First fight, how would you go about taking it, okay? First fight, I'm going to erase pretty much all this for now. All right, so first fight, teams coming in through here, okay? Other teams over here, okay? Now, if you guys saw a little earlier, I talked about two different types of bubbles. Bubbles can be divided into two different classes, okay? There's energy bubbles, and there are push and peel bubbles, okay? Now, when you come in to engage, right, do you really want to take a fight with 0 energy? Normally you don't, right? Normally that's not probably optimal. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So what you want to do is you want to maximize the distance between the teams. So this is like, the displacement, or you can just say the distance. You want to make this really a lot. Why does this want to be a lot? So that if once you use your bubbles for energy, you use both your bubbles for energy, the enemy team can't just speed onto you and take advantage of that. Because this distance is so high, your Lucio here can react and speed your team out. Okay? So you want to make sure there's a massive difference between both teams. So what you'll do here is you'll come over here, you're chilling right over here, and you use both your bubbles. You get charge off of it, okay? Once you get the charge, if they're smart, like I said, they won't rush speed into you because your Lucio will react and he'll speed you out. They will probably do the same thing. They'll mirror your bubbles, right? So now you guys both Zarios have charge. Probably around, you could probably say, depending on how good the enemy team is with hitting bubbles and not hitting, probably say around 60-ish charge. Let's just say for probably both teams, right? So 60-ish charge both teams. Now the actual fight sort of happens, right? Now we talk about, okay, now energy bubbles. This is a check. This is done. So now we look to sort of use push peel bubbles, okay? So we look to engage. Normally when we're playing King's Row, you look to play around here, okay? I'll talk about a little bit why later. But you look to go around here, and then you take the space. The other team will probably push you too, and some teams will actually fight around here, and there's a reason for that too in a second. And now you'll take this fight, okay? Now, when this fight starts, the first fight starts to happen, right? It's all about, who uses that projected first, sort of, or who reacts too late to it. So if a team, like let's say the Black Arrow team, right? They use a projected aggressively, right? And they look to go push the enemy Ryan, right? So let's say the Ryan's over here. Then this is just shield. Okay, there's a way to do this to try and get value on their Ryan, right? What you can do is your Ryan can swing main, your Zarya can go this way, and your Diva can go this way. You're essentially pinching their Ryan, right? Now this is very good if their Zarya doesn't have projected bubble, right? Because then their Ryan can't move and the Ryan just dies. So if the Ryan does have projected bubble, if their Zarya does have projected bubble and you do this, then the defending team will use something called a peel bubble, right? And when you try and do this, it gets denied, right? And you waste a lot of damage. Like it's basically like you speed in really aggressively, right? And you try and push with your projected bubble, and you push with your projected bubble. So your Zarya projects the bubble on your Ryan, and the Zarya does a self bubble as well, because you're basically pushing yourself into their back and into their front line. So this is something you want to do when they don't have projected. It's a very aggressive stance. For example, let's say you sort of wait for them to use projected. Their Ryan's like swinging. You're fighting over here. The fight's over here, okay? And they're swinging, and the Ryan, they use projected bubble on the Ryan, and they don't get a lot of value out of it. Your guys manage to sustain, okay, without using your projected. Then you're in this position where, okay, we can be really aggressive with our projected bubble, and this is how you go about doing it, okay? In this method. It's called pinching. Okay, so that's one thing. Now let's say, now it's all about some other utility and other abilities to sort of see who else can win the fight, right? Because we're still talking about who uses projected bubble first. Are they getting value out of it? Are they not, right? So there's other things that we have to consider, right? We have to consider the Harmony Orbs, right? The Discords. So for Harmony Orbs, you always want that on your Ryan, because again, you're playing for your Ryan, as we talked about before. So Harmony Orb should be on your Ryan. Discord should be on their Ryan, right? Now we talk about speed. When you actually look to engage, you want to make sure you speed in, and you want to speed straight into them, right? The whole point of speeding is to basically get to them as fast as you. It's really bad. 1 second. They're over here. Let's say you're over here. Okay. The whole point of this is you want to get on top of them as fast as you can before they can react, right? If you can make the first move on them before they can react, you're going to get a lot of value out of that speed. Okay? And now the biggest thing with speed is, let's say you can get someone out of position. How would you go about getting someone out of position on their team? Hint, there's a reason why you're playing around statue.
You could use Lucio.
Lucio boops him out. Yeah, boops him into your team.
Okay, perfect. So let's say now we have, the T1 team over here. We have another team over here, right? And yellow's Lucio is over here. He's literally chilling. He's working around here, right? Playing around the statue, and he's looking for a boop, right? He's looking to maybe boop someone over there or boop someone into your team. And when that happens, the Lucio amps speed, and your team just collapses on that person, right? So that's a concept of using boops to try and get value too, right? That's a way of easily getting a win condition, right? Just by booping someone out of their line. If you boop that Orion, you can just collapse on the Orion dies. Because when that happens, if their Zarya doesn't bubble their Orion dies anyway, right? If once their Zarya bubbles their Orion, you just kill the Orion, because guess what? You have projected and they don't, right? So you can imagine now the defending team is going to do the same thing too, right? And the defending team is going to have their Lucio here too. So there's a mini fight, mini little Lucio war going on here on the side of the statue. Okay, so that's one side thing that's going on. So we talked about Harmony Orb, Discord, the little Lucio war and boops. Talked about bubbles, and now we have DM and we have armor. Okay, how do you guys think DM and armor is used?
Armor used to supplementally keep your Rhine up after you've used projected barrier, and DM, I would imagine, is used to eat key damage from the enemy, such as fire strikes and high charge Zarya right clicks, to mitigate damage while your Rhine either lets his shield recharge or takes some healing.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I agree with that. That's very well said, right? A lot of DM also, besides that, is to try and maintain your Rhine shield economy, right? In some situations, you might notice, right? Different teams play different Zen Goats differently. Some teams, they just want to break the enemy Ryan shield, so they'll play really aggressively because maybe they have Shatter, right? And they'll all just focus Ryan shield, break Ryan shield. Some teams will off angle, which I'll talk about in a second, and look to not break Ryan shield, but look to do damage on the other side, like on behind Ryan, right? And so there's stuff like that. So let's talk about a little bit now about off angling, because then we can talk about how to use DM, right? So
I've noticed Valiant do a ton of this.
Right. Off angling is very, very big. So you see one team like this, right? Another team. I have to keep the eraser's really bad in visors. So I have to keep doing this. All right, now, let's say yellow team decides, okay, we're gonna off angle. We're gonna put our diva. Well, first of all, let's explain what off angling is. Off angling is where someone else doesn't play with the team, right? And looks to do damage from a different side, right? So, maybe over here, over here, over here. But basically so that you're you're able to get damage past their Ryan. Does that make sense? Like you're not shooting at Ryan shield, you're shooting at everyone behind the Ryan shield. Now, when you do this, there is some pros and there are definitely some cons. Okay? So the pros are your diva's over here. You can do a lot of damage. You're not shooting at Ryan shield. You can get someone low. If you get someone low, guess what? Your diva can just fly in and kill that person and back off. That could be another win condition, right? Besides boop. We've talked about two now, sort of, right? The diva now. So the diva can off angle and do this. Now, the diva's off angling. Normally, also, Lucio Royal Riding we'll talk about here. Not necessarily off angling, but it can be sort of considered, off angling as well, right? Now, what is the weakness about doing this? Why can this be bad?
If you get yourself slightly out of position by how the front line is rotating, they can use that and split you off and either kill you, or they can push a 5v6 and kill your team.
Okay. What about shield economy? What happens when you consider shield economy here? Your diva is your diva is not focusing on the Ryan shield.
Your shield goes down way quicker than the enemy's shield.
Okay. So would you say that if this is happening right now and the yellow team, who's off angling with Lucio and diva, don't get value and get that kill, and the red team, right, who's the Lucio and diva, the yellow team's attacking, right, and they don't get value on the off angle, right, and get people low, and the red team is then forces yellow's team's Ryan to really get low shield economy and sort of wins the shield war. Do you think that's possible? Do you think that could happen?
I think it's a lot easier than them trying to get someone low who's really far in the back.
Okay. So it's two different play styles, right? So like I said, again, off angling, if you can get value off, the damage and kill things or get people low, that's great. Now let's talk about low. Why is getting someone low such a big deal, right? Obviously, you get them low, you can probably kill them, right? That's common. That's sort of big, right? But what? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking.
Oh no. But so the other thing is when they're low, right? The yellow team might dedicate resources to healing that person, right? What if they dedicate Harmony Orb? harmony? What if they dedicate armor? Sorry, my handwriting is so bad.
Pretty sure the yellow team was the attacking team.
Oh, whoops, my bad. Thank you.
GM coach, by
Yes.
the way.
Yikes,
The
dude.
yellow team. Moral. Right again,
All
guys.
right, but yeah. So orb. Let's say orb, heal orb, armor, and what's the one thing I'm missing?
Bubble, maybe.
Bubble. Yeah, sure. That's really unlikely though, right? Bubble. Okay. So if you do those two things, amp heals for amp, but that like again is a very unlikely. Amp heals. So these two, very unlikely. Most people won't do this. But the orb and the armor pack, you'll be surprised. This happens a lot. Someone will notice someone's low on the team and take off the orb or armor pack that's meant to go on the Ryan and put it on the low target. And why do you think this is bad?
It allows you to
Because it
push.
puts your Ryan at the disadvantage of the front line.
Okay, perfect, right? So now when this happens, and this diva, no, yellow team's diva is overseeing everything. You know, the yellow team's diva can easily see this. A simple call out being they have no armor. Ryan has no heal orb. Immediately then, yellow team will be incredibly aggressive on their Ryan and go for that pinch strat or anything like that. There's, different ways of aggressing. And that will give yellow a massive advantage, right? Now,
So is it not worth it to do that? Like if you have someone who's crit, is it not?
Normally it's not. No.
Orb off your Ryan?
No,
Okay.
normally it's not. Normally what you can do is you can body block, right? You can have your diva body block for that person. You can have your Zarya body block for that person. You can have the person try and back off. Your Brig has passive heals that you can try and you can use. Lucio has passive heals. You want to utilize those tools. Okay. Now let's talk about what can also happen here. A Zen can do the sort of what orange. I guess I don't red. The red team can basically utilize. The red team might make a mistake. Let's say the red team might say the Zens here, right? Like, oh man, dude, this diva's feeding, man. I can hit every single orb. I can farm this diva. This is great. I love this. This is so good for me. The Zen then decides to discord the diva and farm that diva. Is that good or bad?
I think it would be bad because now the Discord isn't available for the Reinhardt.
Okay, perfect.
The enemy run.
Yep. So then, what does yellow team do?
Push aggressively so that they can.
Okay.
Or you mean red team?
Yeah.
What
No.
order it is?
No. So red team is on
Oh, wait,
defense,
no,
right?
Zen put the Discord on the yellow team diva. Never mind.
Yes. So what
Yeah,
does yellow team
the
do?
Yellow team can push aggressive because they aren't gonna have Discord on him for a minute.
Perfect. All right. So now, when that happens, right? What does a diva on yellow team do? This is more complex, right? The diva's Discord is getting farmed by a Zen. What should you do as diva?
I mean,
Do you think?
not. My instinct would be flicker a little bit of matrix to keep yourself alive, but largely do nothing. Like let them keep the Discord on you so they don't realize their mistake, and you can buy time for your team to push with no Discord on the enemy on your Rhine.
Perfect. So how do you buy time? Do you just stand there?
I would play in this specific circumstance. I would back up slightly into alley and play the angle to have a little bit of my hitbox peeking over the top. I'd flicker my matrix when I need to, and just really keep that Zen's attention.
Perfect. That's great, right? You're basically trying to find that beautiful every single location. That's what I like to call an imaginary line, right? Where you can basically use it to anti-LOS someone, and that line goes up and down depending on what the person you're looking at, right? Obviously, if that person moves, that line again will move too. So you have to consider that. But you can do that. That's one strat. What if the diva decides, you know what? This is great. I'm discorded. Decides to fly, go to cover for a little bit, maybe to just get some passive heals, and then maybe come back here, or basically just fly around, right? Make it harder for the Zen to hit. Make sure it's within the Zen LOS, right? But also maybe then looks to engage after the fly. Maybe flies like this and then engages, right? This way the Discord is still on the Zen. The Zen now has a trickier time hitting the diva, and the diva's job is already accomplished. What do you think about that? Instead of just standing there, because imagine this, rockets there, probably not very valuable, right? Yes, you might get value, right? But it's pretty far. Just random damage, pretty much nothing, right? DM, yeah, you can use some DM, right? And that's good. But will your team get a lot of value out of that DM? No. So if you look to fly and sort of maybe do a rotation or something like that and give your team value from DM and then also rockets, you can do that too. It's just a matter of understanding how much health you have left and when you can do that. Okay?
You said to push through statue, right?
Yeah.
To push an enemy. Is there ever a good time to push through Hotel, do you think? Or should you always just try to push statue?
Alright, let's talk about that. Alright, so first of all this makes sense. Does anyone have questions on this?
I had one question regarding. Okay, go.
Yeah.
You go first. You go first. Yeah.
Okay.
Are these things like all calls? Like if Diva gets Discord on her,
Yeah.
does she call push because
Yeah.
Discord's on me instead of Ryan?
Yeah, and I guarantee you most tier 3 teams don't even do this. But yes. they should be calls.
Okay.
Right? Because it's super simple. You can just say, I'm discorded. Now, the thing is, you have to make sure your team understands, right? Normally, when a diva says, I'm discorded, everyone's going to be panicking and saying, oh my god, the diva's discorded. Heal the diva, right? But you need to explain to your team saying that, like, yo, the diva's discorded. That's a good thing, right? And stuff like that.
Resources have been diverted off of Ryan.
Exactly. So make sure the team, in comp or whatnot, I guarantee you in comp this will be incredibly hard. Like, people won't understand. They'll think you're crazy. But, yeah.
I mean, we'll probably be running some Metro goats, and the enemy team's probably going to have a Torb one trick. They're all just kind of jerking off in the corner.
Yikes. Okay, alright. Let's keep it going. Okay, so any other questions on this? I think some other people did. Yeah, Dane.
I had one more.
Yeah.
I'd been studying a ton of off-tank VODs from OWL, and I've noticed a ton of stuff. You were mentioning a lot of key cooldowns into winning that front line. Where does boosters fly into that? Because I notice a ton of Diva players are playing on that slight off angle, still on the ground, on the front line, just to the right, and then they'll boost and use their boosters almost like a mini boop to knock the Rhine up.
Yep.
They're putting pressure on they're walking up in front of their Rhine to shoot the Rhine behind his own shield. Like there's a whole weird kind of like left or right side angle fight going on between the Diva and the Rhine's flank. Like, how do you play that? What is that like a more high level thing? Like, what are we doing there?
All right, so let's first talk about the boop thing, okay? So Diva, you have Lucio boop and you have Diva boop, obviously, you can use to fly. Now, the understanding of Diva boop is you have to understand actually the environment. And when I say environment, again, I mean map and stuff like that. Environment, I'm going to clear all this because it's like really messy now. All right, so if you look at this, right? Diva's playing over here. The enemy Rhine is over here, right? Now, if your Diva goes to do this and boop the Rhine in, is this a good idea?
I would say
Probably not.
Why is it and why is it not?
Because then the Ryan's separated from his team and the rest and into your team, and you guys can take him down a lot easier.
Okay, why is this a bad idea? That sounds like a good idea. Why is it a bad idea?
Because the Diva can get discorded and take a lot of damage as she's flying in, and once she does boop the Rhine still is able to sustain while the Diva's behind, facing the entire enemy team. And if his team pushes up to help him, then they can probably win the fight after killing Diva.
There's also the Brig standing there just trying to stun Diva.
There you go. Someone in my chat just said it too. Yeah, Brig stun. And also, people in chat, I can't answer questions. Sorry, guys. I'll answer at the end. Brig stun. Yes, exactly. Brig stun. Free stun. It's lovely, right? Also, I need to talk about Brig stun. I completely forgot about that. I'll do it in a second. But yeah, so Brig stun. That's why this is not good. So it's important when you're trying to do this type of thing, you need to understand first what the Brig is, and you need to understand the environment. If it's an open area like this, like, that's not ideal, right? That means their teams together, the chance of you getting, punished for it is really high. And personally, I don't think it's worth it. I see it happening a lot on OWL, and the amount of it's one of those one-off things, right? It's like one of those things if I get the value, it's awesome, we can win, we'll get a pick, and it's huge, right? But normally there's a lot more complex things involved in it, where you're trying to essentially bait, people away, or you're trying to force things to split them up, and then from there you're trying to go for it. But even then, every time I've watched OWL and have seen people do it, they don't really get value. It doesn't make sense to me.
I've noticed it's almost exclusively the playstyle of Space and Fury.
Yep, I've seen Space do it a lot.
Space does it a ton, and Fury on Spitfire does it.
And how are those teams doing?
Yeah, they're doing dog shit. So, I guess that probably has a ton to do with it. But
it doesn't have a ton, but
just outside of the reach of the Brig, but they're doing it to just put a ton of pressure on the main tank, and I just wanted to ask more about it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, but so essentially, you want pressure main tank. Let's talk about Brig stun, right? So when can you actually get value out of Brig stun? Biggest thing is when you're doing that pinch I talked about earlier, right, with the Ryan pushing, the Zarya going this way, and then the Diva going that way, your Brig goes in and stuns that Ryan. Whenever projected is used, the enemy projected is used, your Brig has a free stun, and you should use that. Super important. Okay, that's that. All right. this is sort of the general, basics. There's still a lot more stuff about goats, but I don't want to spend too much time on this because otherwise I'd be talking for ages. And I still have to talk about floats. And I have a cool example that was literally from OWL that I'll use. All right, let's talk about hotel, and I'll talk about why this is interesting. Let's see here, Kings Row. 1 minute, I'm trying to get the other side of. Here we go. Okay, so let's say you're pushing through hotel. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, you guys probably haven't heard of this, but we're going to talk about Zen off-angling. Okay? Look at that. I actually wrote it fully out. Okay. Zen off-angling. All right. They're coming through here, right? Now, let's say, this is like I said, this is not the best, but it's a little better. Your team, right, is on defense. They're playing arches, okay? They're coming through here. They're sort of in this, hotel. It's really not a great choke, right? They're all sort of stuffed in there, right, on the attacking team. Your defense has so much space, right? Just look at all the space you've got. It's beautiful. It's amazing, right? Now, whoever's on the defensive team has an advantage. Why does the defensive team always have an advantage?
Because they have to push into you.
Exactly.
And use resources to get in.
Yes, perfect. That's huge, right? You have to use resources as the attacking team. The defending team also has one other advantage that's really big. You can dictate the shield war. You can dictate how the shield is going to be. What I mean by that is because you have so much space, you can force the Rhine, for example, if you shield like this, their Rhine will mirror that, right? You could say, hey, I want you, I'm going to shield like this, and guess what? Their Rhine's going to do this, right? You can dictate how the attacking team's Rhine is going to shield. Make sense? Now, let's say this happens, okay? They're coming through here. You actually bait them. You let them in, okay? And then you put a shield like this. I mean, this needs to be more right. I can't do it because how the drawing is. And then what you do is you keep your Zen over here. Your Zen is super far away. Notice how far away your Zen is from the team.
But can't Diva go after him?
Yeah, sure. Diva can, maybe. But then your Diva can go help. So can your Lucio.
Right.
And then guess what? Their Diva is demacked.
Question for
yeah.
the shield on shield war.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's ever a good time to not have your shield in front of the enemy's Rhine shield? Like if you're trying to cut him off or.
Yes. I'll give you an example in 1 second when I talk about Zarya off angling. Well, yeah, sort of. It might answer your question. I'm not fully sure, but yeah. So 1 sec. This is sort of how this works, right? So if you set this up right, you get a lot of value. Also, the whole problem is if you think about Zarya damage, right? Zarya does the most damage in goats, right? Zarya right clicks and just does the most damage, right? Now, if someone's in a small choke, someone's echoing. It's Xiao. Can you? Yeah, thank you. So if Zarya right clicks, right, in a small choke, how much? That gives so much ult charge and so much damage, right? So normally, if you're the defending team, right, and you win the previous fight, right, your Zarya has a lot of charge. So if the defending team won the first fight, right, their Zarya is going to be at 80 charge, which means that right click that happens in hotel is huge, right? You get a lot of value. So normally an attacking team wants to avoid going through small chokes like this because they don't want to feed Zarya ult. If you guys have ever seen Cafe, Harblue, or sort of Zaryas that play for charge and building ult fast, it's because they use first of all bubbles really aggressively, and more than that, they are very, very good at right clicks. They're very good at landing right clicks in a way so that they get 10-12% per right click because they get them in the whole team on it. Okay? So that's this. Something that's really important to explain. Why I just realize it now. We talked about first fight. That thing at statue, that was an example of first fight, right? Let's say now after that, the defending team wins. Okay? Who has the advantage here? And I sort of already gave a hint up. The second fight's about to happen. Who has the advantage? The defending team or attacking team?
Defending team.
Probably the attacking.
Okay, so Moira, why do you think attacking? How is that? I never right, but yeah.
I mean, I think it's whoever has the most ults, and you're assuming that defensive team won their ults to win it. Then the attacking team is going to roll in with whatever they have left.
Okay, that's a good point, right? I mean, it depends how long the first fight is and how many ults were used. Yeah, it could be a really long fight. I've seen a fight with 12 ults and it was nuts. I've seen a fight where literally the defending team uses all of them and the attacking team uses nothing. So yeah, that's a good point. Why do you guys think the defending team could be advantageous?
Because like you just said, your Zarya is going to have more charge than the enemy Zarya because the enemy Zarya probably died. And on top of that, you're going to have, if you won the fight, you should have more ult charge.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you're on defense, you don't have to commit ults unless the attacking team commits ults. Unless you're
Okay.
trying to go
Yeah.
for wipes.
So normally this is how charge will go after first fight. Defending, whoever's defending and whoever's attacking, right? And literally you could swap it around too. You could say literally the attacking team wins this, right? Defending team lost. The attacking team then is going to have more charge, right? So basically you can say the winning team, right? So you can sort of classify this as winning. You could say losing.
Will that affect how your Zarya should play? Because you just don't have to get energy anymore?
Yes, I will explain that in a second, right? So now this is 80-0, right? So when the fight starts now, this, the winning team just has so much charge. So your Zarya, there's no way you want to go in with 0 charge, right? You want to go for energy bubbles, right? How we talked about before, what energy bubbles are. You want to maximize distance, get energy. So use both your bubbles, get energy, and do that. As soon as you do that, the winning team will probably mirror it, right? So, yeah, you're echoing again. Or I can just, it's fine. All right. Where was I? Yeah, so the winning team will probably mirror your bubbles. And guess what? They will probably get 100 charge. They'll max out. And you will probably get, again, this all depends on, who's shooting at bubbles and whatnot. They'll probably get, let's say, 70 to 80 charge if you do good bubbles, right? But this looks so much better than this, right? Like, this is so much better. And this is so much better for your Zarya, right? So that's sort of like second fights or just fights in general. You'll see, if you just watch OWL and watch Zaryas that are on the losing fights, you'll notice they basically play for energy bubbles. Because if they don't, the enemy team Zarya will literally build grav way faster. Because they will go in with fights where they have 0 charge. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So as the attacking team, should you not mirror bubble as soon as they use bubbles? Should you just...
You mean the winning team or losing team?
The winning team.
I mean, if you think about it, right? They only have 80, right? And you're always losing energy. So why would you not? So the thing is, why would you not mirror? If you don't mirror, right, then you don't go higher. You don't go to 100, and you'd rather be 100 than 80 because you don't care about necessarily about the energy. You care about like the duration of the fight, right? You care about having more energy overall. And the thing is, they're too far away for you, so you can't even speed into them.
So you can't use a push bubble.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
You either hold it or you use it for charge.
Yeah. And you hold it, it doesn't make any sense because the enemy team, the losing team is just going to wait till they have their bubble back before they engage, right? So you might as well just mirror.
So you lose nothing from doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think just knowing that they're planning on doing it and playing out a line of sight until they get in closer? Because especially on King's Row, it doesn't take very long to get in close to them.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you can do, you can hide, and then if you think they're gonna go for energy bubbles, you can do it. But a team again, they're gonna want to know where you are. They're not gonna go for energy bubbles if they don't see your Zarya or your Ryan or anything, right? Like that, I that's pretty risky. Because then why would you bubble in the first place?
Right, but then also you could have like 60 energy when you do engage because you hid and they don't have any energy.
Yeah.
Force them to use bubbles.
I mean, but that's what energy bubbles are, right? You're forcing the losing team to use bubbles regardless. I mean, that's if they're good, but yeah. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, no matter what, the losing team should energy bubble before they go in.
Right.
Right? I'm
Case,
confused.
like they couldn't get the energy bubble off, and now their team's like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, if they can't get the what do you mean? Like they can't cause the enemy the winning team just speeds into them.
Yeah, that or they avoid line of sight until they get it to the point where they have to hold, because otherwise they're just giving up space for free.
Give me an example of that second point. The first point, you just speed out, and it's fine.
Second point would be like that first corner.
Okay, 1 second.
Right past the archway, little health pack.
That's all I want to do. 1 second. Yikes. There we go. Okay, yeah, here, past the first corner here.
That's first point.
Where?
That's first point.
Oh, you're talking about which point? Third point? Second point? Okay.
You're attacking.
Attacking arches here? Or this is really bad.
Right
yeah.
towards the back by the health pack. Yeah, right there.
Uh-huh.
Because if they get it to that corner, then you're kind of you don't really have any more line of sight that's far away from them because it's all kind of close quarters. So they either are forced to take the fight without Zarya charge, or they have to try to figure out a way to get charge. Either way, you're taking space.
Why can't you just play further back over here? Don't play the corner. Play further back and still utilize this.
What I meant was like they're right here, right? Like trying to get Zarya charge. You just hide behind payload or push the payload until you get close to them, so that they're forced to take the fight without the charge.
Oh, I mean, but then you like, again, spawn 2 is super far. Like if they're holding close, you can bubble even earlier. You don't have to bubble here. If the enemy team is holding close, you just bubble even earlier. Where you do energy bubbles doesn't matter as long as there's distance between. Now if they're holding spawn, like I don't know if you guys have probably definitely seen this, right? Nope, not videos. I keep doing that. You've seen people hold right over here, right, on defense, and hold over here, and now the attacking team is like, crap, what do we do, right? This is a situation where it's really hard to energy bubble. So this is why this is even done, because it's so hard for the defending attacking team to energy bubble, right? Or on top of that, also high ground and get to cart. So this is where it's difficult. But still, even then, what you can do is you can literally double bubble right outside spawn. They'll shoot at you, go back and spawn. You have energy, right?
Right.
So energy bubbles can happen anywhere. Okay? I want to try and move on. Any other questions on this really fast? Okay.
Guess we're looking at dotes.
All right. Yeah, so let's look at floats first, or dotes, and then after that we'll look at somber Ana goats, okay? So first we're going to watch this a little bit, okay? We're going to watch this attack, and we'll see how it goes, and then I'm going to explain some stuff, okay?
Dragons will run Winston here on defense. It's Dallas, they stay on this Reinhardt. If they take point A pretty quick, you're going to have Gamsu switch over to that Reinhardt for point B, reset his ultimate. You could see like a real snowball chance here for the Dallas Fuel.
Gamsu trying to get in the cookie jar there. 50%, by the way, charge on this primal rage. That's a lot for the first couple moments of this.
Winston's gun does like a lot of cleave damage, right? So with everybody so grouped up, just being that little area,
you're in range of it, you'll be hit by it.
Yes.
RCK just trying to rattle the cage of the Dragons on that high ground a little bit on that Diva. And he dropped down to the point, and he can come back and tickle that one. The Fuel are trying to out-rotate the Dragons here and pick off the players that were left behind on that platform, but they were able to get out of trouble. The Dragons are a very mobile composition, with the exception of probably DM and Yongjin here.
So the Dallas Fuel decide they want to go up to the high ground. The Dragons rotate out. What you could see here is Dallas like try and have one player go to the low ground, and then you're maybe trying to split some players off here. So just get a good idea of where the Dragons players are going to position themselves. Find one player alone that you feel like you can take advantage of and isolate.
See him sitting up the back. Zachary's like, Unko, my son, everything the light touches is our lands. Stay up here. Let me help you heal the rest of my team properly. Gamsu with Primal Rage is low.
1 minute.
Discord Orb is gonna make it hurt. Get OG just before the Transcendence comes out. It's still a trade in terms of main tanks here. Arguably, the Reinhardt loss hurts a little bit.
Looks like both teams have a shit ton of Zarya charge.
On the point, Matt. The Fuel have positional control now. The Dragons have to rotate high and lose yet another point before they can really come back. But they do get Zachary, so they're rewarded for that. DM has a Graviton Surge. He's actually sucked into one himself there. YK was trying to make the difference. They just left that self-destruct right on top of DM's head. It's not really enough here from the Fuel, though, to secure the point. OG comes back while most of his teammates are already gone. They get 2 ticks, but that's all they'll have.
Do you think that the comp that the Dragons are running is still the most viable comp on this point?
All right, we'll talk about it. But yeah, I just want to finish this playing, and then we'll talk about it.
Overlap them, and that time you saw them use 2 support ults at the same time. On the defensive side, it was a Rally and Sound Barrier used at the same exact time. I believe it's the same 2 that were used here at the same exact time. I think they were trying to save OG in this scenario, though, down on the low ground, as Zachary may not have been able to make it. But just something to watch out for. You can't keep layering those support
second
ults
fight.
on top of each other. You gotta, you chain one into another into the next.
Only use as required. Gamsu put that bubble down. Oh, that's a shatter and a half. Guardian and Gamsu both are down. Guardian's in deep trouble. That's definitely a deep mech. Going to be a self-destruct and an attempted remake. But Unko took down the pilot Diva after Guardian left his mech. Means he can't get back in.
I'm on the countdown. Is that right?
The countdown? It's at 1 minute and 11 seconds left.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we are.
Alright, thanks.
We're just finishing it. The fight.
Try and chunk down the enemies in Yara, but RCK gets the final blow. Gamsu being down now, and Yongjin won't make it back to the point. Now for the Fuel, it's simple. Capture point B.
Okay. Alright, so let's first talk about this, okay? So for someone first talked about like, oh wow, so this comp is this like sort of meta, or like why is this run? So let's talk about first why is this run, okay? So you guys noticed that Caster said something really important, and they really missed the whole sort of like point of this comp and how it really works. Okay, so I'm trying to try and go back a bit so I can get to the points I want to get to. But visors are very fun.
Broken.
Yeah, I went too far. 1 second. So the whole point of floats, right, is the stuff, right? There's 2 ways of playing floats. Okay, 2 ways are, one way is to use your Winston. Well, so there's floats versus floats, right? And there's floats versus Zen goats, or Z goats, okay? I'm gonna say Zen goats. Now, when you play floats versus Zen goats, there's 2 different ways of playing this. Which one way you saw, which is basically playing for monkey ult. The other way is splitting. No, can't spell. There we go, splitting. Okay, we'll talk about splitting after. But first, this is how they're playing, is they're playing for monkey ult. And they do a little bit of splitting too. Alright, if this is gonna get to where I want it to get to. Come on. Yikes, dude. Visor's so slow. Okay, perfect. Okay. So, Shanghai Dragons on the Winston, on the floats, like we saw. Dragons, Fuel on the Zen Goats. Notice first, Guardian immediately scouting, seeing what they're running, so they can immediately, like, basically react to what they're doing.
They stay on this Reinhardt. If they take point A pretty quick, they're
Okay.
gonna have to have Gamsu switch.
Notice already, Gamsu's in position here to immediately start doing damage on their team. Okay, now let's say Dallas goes this way. Gamsu can start poking at them effectively, right? And getting a lot of ult charge. Now, when Gamsu does this, you know, he'll get Zarya bubbled. He'll use his own bubble, so he can't get punished. If, you know, Dallas tries to push him, guess what? DM uses Appeal bubble, right, on Monkey, and Monkey just jumps out. And they waste time. If Dallas decides to go this way, same thing happens. He gets a lot of charge and value. So watch. Dallas goes left, right? He goes there. He gets bubbled first, right? Because bubble's definitely safer, right? Because you want your bubble first, because that's safer. Then after that, he puts his own bubble. Now notice even though Lucio comes to help him, because speed is super important, and so is Boop. So now he's already at 50% charge. Got so much value from that. So he backs off.
Real snowball chance here for the Dallas.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Fuel Zarya used both her bubbles there.
Yep.
Because she knew
Energy
Person was just trying to do a bunch of damage. Yeah.
Yep.
So is it worth the trade-off in ult charge for Monkey to have the enemy be higher energy?
But you mean the Zarya?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, I mean,
doing that, Dragons gave that Fuel Zarya more energy than their Zarya.
Yeah,
has.
that's fine because you don't care about this the charge, because what you're playing for is you're playing to split the team up with your ult.
Okay.
And then that's in that situation when you split up Zen Goats like that, your front line will win, and you'll see exactly what happens. Even the first fight, they don't really play very well.
So he's okay.
Did you see the breakdown that I think it was maybe Sideshow did, where he broke down the rotation, the Houston rotation, if you will? I'll just call it that because everyone knows what I'm talking about. And broke down what happened when they did it against the Spark, and then did the exact same breakdown for when another team attempted it against the NYXL, and then breaks down the differences in rotation and all the different opportunities that the Monkey's constantly trickling in damage at every single available opportunity.
I didn't look at all of them, but I looked at a few of them. I looked at like a decent amount.
I'll link it to you after this, Natter, because it was actually a really good breakdown. It was like a 6-minute video, but really worth taking a look at.
Yeah. I'll look at it. All right, so right over here, right? They come in. Same thing is gonna happen. So they're discorded. The Winston's waiting. So normally, what should happen there? Again, you stuff there, right? You do the same thing there. But the problem there is if they don't have cooldowns and stuff like that, they can't do that. Also, when they play there, they don't get value out of any of these people that are hiding up high ground. So they didn't go for it.
With everybody so grouped up.
Why are you also building the monkey? Is it just for the CC effect of it?
You'll see. I'll give you an example and show you in like a second. Stuffing. It's sort of just where you're like forcing them into like an area. Like you're basically just like forcing them into like a location. And with Monkey, you get a lot of value, right? Because your gun, you're hitting everyone exactly.
By the way, Netter, I found you the VOD and I linked it
Alright,
to you.
yeah, I'll look
It's
at it
like
later.
6 minutes long. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So notice how, again, they're running Zen Goats. They don't have high ground. Everyone else floats. It's high ground, getting value. Okay. So now Fuel decides to go to point.
Just trying to rattle the cage of the dragons on that.
All right, now watch this. Okay. So there's a concept of splitting, right? So when I talk about that other type of float style where you jump in, and what is splitting, right? Dude, I cannot spell today. I'm just really tired. Sorry. All right. So you what you want to do is floats normally against Zen Goats is you want to jump in and you want to bubble right in between the team. Why do you want to do this? You want to do this because you want to separate their tanks from their supports, specifically, hopefully, the Ryan. When you do this, right, you're basically the Ryan is left alone and can't get heals, and your monkey gets a lot of value. In this situation, they're not really aiming for this. It happens a little bit, but what they're aiming for is the fact that their Ryan is so far like ahead, and so is their Diva, that they're able to go for the backline and get that, monkey damage and monkey ult. Splitting. Chalky, yes, I'm sorry. I did not sleep a lot last night. All right, so yeah, so the monkey goes in for like the backline, right? While the tanks are super out of position and is able to get value. So watch, he goes in. He gets bubbled first like always, right? Then he puts bubble. Right after this comes the DM. So like notice the ability cycling. It's like perfect.
He dropped down to the point and he can come back and tickle that one. The Fuel are trying to
Okay.
rotate the dragon.
So this takes a really coordinated team to do properly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just gonna die.
Exactly. And the biggest thing is you think about how Dallas is playing this. They're not even playing this very well, right? Because you think about it, if that monkey comes in, if they just have speed and are playing together, they just speed the monkey.
Yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Right, but it didn't happen. Why? Because their tanks were so out of position. So what you want to do is you want to stay together, right? But they're not staying together.
So is it the Reinhardt's job to try to stay with his team, or is it the team's job to try to stay with Reinhardt?
I'd say it's always the team's job to stay with the Reinhardt, in my opinion. But the thing is, when you're playing over here, you want to utilize this high ground as much as possible, because otherwise, as soon as you come to point, everyone else, the Shanghai Dragons, gets a lot of value. So what you'll see is happen is Dallas is like, okay, we can't come this way. We need to go high ground. So they go high ground to try and get, because floats has value when it's high ground. Like a Zen high ground, pretty strong, right? So when this happens, you want to force them off high ground. So they try and force them off high ground.
They're a very mobile composition with the exception of probably DM and Yongjin here.
So the Dallas Fuel decide they want to go up.
What if they just rotated back and killed the Zen?
That's what happened. That's what Jake did, or Jake or like literally someone else did. They bait this rotation and they go back and then they kill the Zen on that rotation. No, it's a legit thing. It's a legit thing. So now look.
That was just my first thought.
Yeah, it's a legit thing, right? So, all right, so now, the Ryan goes down. As soon as that Ryan drops down because he's useless, Winston goes up and takes value, goes for value. He then looks to build a lot of... I mean, he has to contest point, right? He's not going to get any value like down there. So, and the reason why, what he's trying to do is he's trying to force them to come to point, right? As, Zen Goats, you want, floats to fight you straight up. Because if floats fight Zen Goats straight up, who wins? Zen Goats. Like a monkey versus a Ryan, that's not like a fair fight, right? The Ryan's gonna win. So, right, that happens. Gamsu goes up, he gets a lot of ult charge, almost has his ult. Notice what Gamsu does here. He basically he pokes in a way so that right over here. He's sort of backing off, but he's poking in a way where he's consistently getting value out of him, and OG's not able to swing on him, right? And now, yeah, exactly. He's hugging that corner. Now he's got his ult, right? So now the bubble comes in, right? And this is what I was talking about when you get value out of ult, right? You want to use the ult and you want to literally split them up, right? So watch what happens. That's why it doesn't matter. You don't care about Zarya charge because you're just gonna kill the Zarya. So watch. He goes there in the back line. He ults immediately, even though I don't think that was necessarily the right choice because he could have done more work. No, look at Gamsu's health. He was literally over here when he ulted. He still had armor.
I mean, he gets break stunned there and takes half his
yeah,
HP
yeah.
to get the Zarya up there. So I guess I get why.
I mean, even if he gets break stunned, look where the enemy Zarya is. It's pretty far, and then Zarya has to rotate to do value, but it's fine. I mean, it's still worth it, right? If you lose here, if you lose this fight and you don't ult, then you're screwed. Because look how long this fight's taking, right? It's taking a really long time. All right, so he goes for the ult. He's literally booping everyone around, right? So is Lucio. Their Zen Goats is so split right now. Ryan is literally backed into a corner. Then Zarya, D.Va, and everyone starts coming up and pushing their front line, right? So that now,
Do you
like,
target anyone specifically?
yep.
when
I
you're-
mean, you normally try and kill the Ryan. You normally try and kill the Ryan, but notice Unko's trance comes in way too late.
Oh, I meant as the Winston, like when you're knocking people around.
Yeah, I mean, you
it's
want to just try. I mean, you want to try and split people up. You want to try and knock the Ryan like away from his team. Instead, they ended up knocking him into a corner here, which sort of worked, right? Unko's trance was super late.
Yeah.
Gamsu dies. But now, see, the thing is, when you have a trance like this, right? This is really bad because this is a reactive trance, right? You're doing a reactive trance for a monkey ult. That's not good, right? So now for some reason they beat here. I mean, they must have been low. Let's see how low they were. They just trance, so like no, they're pretty much full HP. So close your beats here, which is a pretty questionable beat. Now they've used, this is a proactive beat. They're trying to like push, right? They're trying to win this fight because they think for some reason it's lost because they have no Ryan. Now both support ults are out. Shanghai Dragon still has both their support ults, or almost. Koma almost has his ult. So now they do a trance, which is basically counteracts, right? Literally the beat and the trance with one ult, right? And now Zachary is out of position, dies, like way out of position, like most Brig players. Guardian goes in, he gets discorded. DM looks to push in, and now they have an aggressive beat, right? They get grabbed. DM just dies to grab bomb. They're all forced in this corner. Again, they don't have a Ryan, so they can't do much, right? Like without Ryan, it's so hard.
So do you think they should have just took the loss there after they used ults?
What they should have done is they should have tranced more early, kept the Ryan up, and then tried to push with that. But then after that, what the floats will do is they'll back off, they'll wait, and then after that, they'll use their support ults more aggressively. What they have to do as, Zen Goats is you have to try and keep rotating and do baiting like that and try and get on their back line. Like literally, I think, it was another match, and I think, who was it? Oh.
Floats, right?
Yeah, it was Outlaws. Jake, it was Jake's idea. What they did is they basically forced the people over here all the way back into their spawn because they basically messed with the rotations and screwed up their tanks. Like their tanks were on point and their backline like got screwed, and they forced their backline all the way back. It was.
See. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
See, the issue is like in lower ranks, you'd be like, okay, they'll rotate there, but then it finds out, oh, they're just sitting there and looking at us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, this will still work in lower ranks, right? You think about it, like how you're playing with Monkey, right? You can still play for ult, right? That's how you want to play floats. You want to play for ult.
Yeah, but also lower ranks are more willing to commit abilities to try to kill you quicker.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is this is like a lot of this stuff is for scrim, is like understanding like scrim knowledge and like just game sense, right? Because if you notice like on that bridge, the amount of like ability synergy and ability cycling there that happened is pretty difficult, right?
Well, I was referring to scrims. Most scrims aren't going to be like that unless they're tier 3 or higher.
I've coached master teams and they're able to do this. It's just a matter of the dedication.
Tell my master team that.
I mean, get a session with me. Wink. Literally, I've done it.
We have Typhoon yelling at us. It's fine.
He's pretty good.
One thing I was wondering is when DM died to the bomb, he could have prevented that. Is that true? Because he did bubble as soon as he got grabbed.
Yeah, he bubbled too early. The bubble can also break there in that situation.
Did that cause them to lose this entire like point just because DM died, and then their Zarya or energy charge went down to 0, and then they had to come back and play for bubbles? Or is that not the reason they lost this?
Most of the team was already dead.
Yeah, most of the team was already dead.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
you also have to think you're probably not going to win this point.
Yeah. So again, you're doing the same concept. Gamsu's at 66%. It's a little messy, but same concept.
Do you think getting this much time off them is a good?
Yeah. A lot of people first hold this sometimes. The second fight is when Dallas needs to win. Is the second fight. Like the biggest thing is the second fight. Like OG needs to get value out of Shatter. If they haven't committed this, then you look for a grab bomb, because grab bomb on floats is super strong, right? Like super strong, because you don't have a Ryan shield. So yeah. The same thing. Oh, that was super smart, right? He waited for Gamsu to come down, already used bubble, and then shattered Gamsu. And now Gamsu can't, guess what? He can't ult. So he literally just counteract like their play. Like this was very much planned. Like honestly, if he just got Gamsu, it would have been worth. He didn't even care about the D.Va, but the D.Va was there. And now there is, you know, his ult. They didn't focus Gamsu, which was a big mistake, right? They focused the D.Va instead. Now Unko just, you know, doing DPS Pogger Zen.
Why are they not looking at him?
Because, I don't know, they're focused on something else.
They're focused on the Reinhardt, but
yeah.
It would be easier to kill the Zen at 200 HP than the Reinhardt at 400.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. I mean, but like the thing is target focus. People don't want a tunnel vision. They're focused on one thing.
They want to or don't want to?
They I mean, like they're tunnel visioning. The team, if you listen to calls like owl calls, contenders calls, they normally have one target caller. Sometimes people will chain that call, so all you hear is that, and everyone is literally focusing on that. What they don't want is they don't want people like, you know, switching targets and stuff like that. Yes, well, yeah. that obviously that, you know, that Zen's in a bad position and someone should focus him, right? But everyone else is so tunnel vision focused on that you know, they're not focusing on it. Because if they don't support the front line, then the front line just dies. So if one person starts tunnel visioning and focusing the Zen, and other people start continuing that, then like you lose the front line fight.
Yeah, that tends to happen on my team a lot. My team's just like, oh look, it's a pretty butterfly. I'm gonna go chase it.
Yeah, exactly, right? So then you lose. Okay, so that's floats, right? So this is an example of like how to play with from like monkey ult. Though again, can't find an example. I didn't really look too hard, but I wanted to like make it more interactive. So you know, there's also the example of using like, you know, what do you call it? You know, jumping in as monkey, splitting team up, and then when you do that, like when you try and, you know, jump in as monkey and you split the team up, your team as floats then basically speeds in to the enemy team that you split up their front line and kills them.
Hey Netter, I know this might be I don't know if you originally planned this or not, but that link that I sent you there, the last half just shows Nixel textbook going through the rotation, showing exactly how to get value out of the Winston for when to damage and how to get the primal off, and it's only about a minute long during that section. If you want, I can timestamp it for you to show the example.
It's okay, because like we're already like an hour and 20 minutes in, and I want to get you guys in a custom game, because like that's super important, and like I feel like I'm already running late ish.
Hey Natter, if there's a Winston and a D.Va, we should like people go for first if they're both stunned.
Both stunned. Oh, like okay, so probably the Winston. Or well, it depends. It's floats, I'm assuming. Zen goes for floats.
Yeah.
Yeah, Winston, just because the ult. The ult's so important in floats, right? Okay, so last thing, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so I wanted to get into, you know, Ana Sombra Goats and Sombra Goats, but I don't think we really have a lot of time, because I really want to talk about Zarya off angling, because not a lot of Zaryas understand how to off angle. So I want to talk about that really fast, and then yeah. So like, if you guys have questions about Ana Sombra Goats and Sombra Goats in general, you can just DM me and I can try and answer them later. We just don't have a lot of time, unfortunately.
And
I know.
Question about floats.
Yeah. What's your question about floats?
When do you play for monkey ult versus just splitting them up with the bubble? Like, how do you make that judgment?
When do you play for monkey ult? Well, splitting them. Well, it depends on the map, right? So if you notice on this map, there's so many good like let's see if I can get a good here. If you look at like all these different turns, right? Like all these different chokes here, like these.
Winston can do
damage. You have to literally analyze the map and see like, does this make sense? Like, you know, and if my monkey jumps in here, if are they gonna go in basically? If I look to go here, are they gonna go here or here, right? Then like, okay, if they come over here, can I get value over here? You know, like you have to like understand the chokes and understand how to engage and disengage based off of it. You also have to make sure your team can support you too, right? From where you are. Like you need Harmony Orb, you need Bubble, you need DM, you need Speed. Depending on what's happening, you might need DM, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about is sort of Zarya off angling, and we're going to go to lead Jane Control Center. Okay. Let's talk about this, okay? So let's say Zen Goats for Zen Goats, okay? One team is over here. Other team is over here. Okay? Now, let's say they're fighting, okay? It's mid-fight. You know, the fight's happening. It's happened for a bit. They're just, you know, they're constantly fighting, stabilizing, and whatnot. Now, the Zarya over here, for the yellow team Zarya decides, you know what? I got self-bubble. And, you know, I want to, like, you know, off-angle, right? So... You know, the Zarya says, okay, I'm going to look at the off angle. So Zarya sort of goes over here, right, and looks to off angle, right? Now, the how and why this works, right? Now, when this happens, right, Pink then could push the Zarya, right? That's possible. But the Zarya has self bubble, and then Zarya can easily kite back to the team, right? In this situation, what you want to try and do, it's not the best example, but let's see, I'm trying to, oh, here we go. What you want to try and do, one second, let's draw this in a better way so it makes more sense. Say like you're flush. You want the team to be flush. Okay. What you want to try and do is you want to try and, this is a hard example, but normally depending on like the situation, you can basically turn the team. So green team, force them to play like this, and then your team plays like this. Now, why is this good? Because what you can do now is when your Zarya off angles over here, the distance between your Zarya and them is a lot, right? And the distance between you and your Zarya is not a lot. So what you want to try and do is you want to try and minimize, you want to minimize the distance between your Zarya and your team when you are off angling, and you want to try and maximize the distance between your Zarya and their team. So it's harder for their team to punish, and it's easier for your Zarya to get back to your team. Does that make sense?
So this is the call that Zarya would have to make to the team, otherwise you're just gonna not rotate and you're probably gonna lose.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff where you have to go probably in a map review or VOD review and explain like exactly what you're planning on doing. Because again, this is like your Ryan is shielding in a way that's forcing their Ryan to shield in another way, which then allows your Zarya to get value.
Okay. And what do you do if your team just isn't able to calm very well? Like they don't know how to?
Sorry. I just realized I have to actually go in 16 minutes. Crap. I don't know if we'll have time to
Custom game?
Yeah, custom game. That's actually really frustrating because I have something else to do. Yeah. What's your question?
What do you do if your team doesn't like to call things out very much and they just don't know how to?
Then I mean, like, they don't want to talk. That's like a mentality thing which they need to work on, and you can try and like talk to them about.
Alright.
I mean, the question is, do they want to get better? Do they want to improve? Right?
There you go.
Yeah, so
get a better team forehead.
Yeah. So like let's talk about like some baiting stuff some more. Like this is all like sort of baiting too if you think about it, because you're basically like forcing them to in a certain way which gives you value, right? Like let's say like where okay, one second. I'm gonna do let me use this example, and I'll also give another example of like Zarya off angling. I'm gonna have you guys try and show me how it works. Okay, so let's say your Zarya is playing over here now, okay, and your team is over here, and their team is over here. Okay. Now, is this a bad position for your Zarya? Yes or no?
Yes, because their team can easily just cut you off by rotating themselves.
Perfect. Okay. Now, let's say your Zarya doesn't show immediately. Your Zarya sort of hides over here. Okay. Then looks to come over here. When this happens, their team then looks to speed or push them, and your team, well, let's put your team over here actually. And why does this matter? Because you want to be as close to the other side as possible. Their team then starts to push. Your Ryan is shatter, okay? You're baiting their Ryan and their team to push your Zarya. Your Zarya has self, okay? When this happens, your team then dedicates all your resources, including like, Harmony Orb, armor, everything to your Zarya. Your team then makes a speed and rotates it over here and flank shatter their whole team.
Lamaded.
That's another bait you can do. Okay, so these are like strats that like contenders teams try and do, or maybe top tier 3, definitely maybe trials, like top tier 3 trials is a little iffy, right? But this is stuff that like top teams do. Okay.
What about Overwatch League? Would they try to do this?
It depends. Yeah, it's probably like way more in depth, I'd say. Like I can like for example that bait that I don't know if anyone saw that Jake did. Like the reason why Jake's on Outlaws is because he's got like a Giga Brain. Like he's a very good shot caller. Right, so like he basically broke that. He forced like people on defense to literally their spawn because of like stuff like this, right? Then someone even tweeted about it, like saying, "Holy shit!" Like Jake, like first point attack, like literally massive brained them. All right, so let's talk about since like I said we can't do that. I'm really sorry we can't do the custom game. It's just that I have to go for scrims, unfortunately, in 14 minutes. But okay, wait.
Do you want to go over Somber Goat since you might have a minute to do that?
Yeah, I want to try and. Wait 1 second. All right, let's say. we're gonna do a hypothetical here. Okay, let's say this point is Busan drums. Okay, and okay, let's say this point is Busan drums. Okay.
Does Snap Banana have Busan maps yet?
No, it doesn't. Or you mean Visor? No, it doesn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know Snap Banana also does it too.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I need to like actually maybe just get Snap Banana. It'd be so much more useful. All right, so Busan, this is the point. Let's just say, okay, and you know the middle thing's right over here, like a very top view. Okay, I want you to explain me how, or someone to explain me how you can off angle with Zarya here. If one team is, like, you know, your right team's over here, their team, let's say, is over. Wait, that's bad. Yikes, dude. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Over here. Okay. Your team is over here. Their team again is over here. And this actually happens a lot. People will, because there's that side angle there, right? So people will actually try and back off into that area so they have environment. Okay? So how would you try an off angle here if you wanted to?
On that left side?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Right? So you would have your Zen or your Zarya. It's not exactly right. Like, the proportion's not great. But you'd come over here and you'd off angle like that.
I'm pretty sure the bell takes up like 80% of the fucking point.
Yeah.
Thanks, Blizzard.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, so that's how you sort of go about this, right? And again, it's really important you keep self. Okay. All right. So I want to say the rest of the time, like even then, like we have 12 minutes, and I need a break before scrims. Otherwise, I would have been consistently coaching since 1 p.m. EST, and I just need a break. My brain. That's why like I can't even spell. Like you're seeing, like I'm exhausted.
Totally understandable.
So yeah. So all right. So I want to like answer questions first, and I'm sorry. Like I said, we couldn't go into Sombra on a goats, and we couldn't do a custom game. I apologize. We started really late, and you know that stuff tends to happen. But at least hopefully you know you guys learned a lot about like sort of baiting, which is like again very. It's not something that's like normal like you know masters, even GM people really understand. So hopefully you learned some cool stuff on that. But
as someone that's going to be flexing to Sombra for my team for Sombra Goats, could you do like top 3 bullet points for Sombra Goats? Key things for the Sombra player, like the differences if you have a Zarya versus a Diva as the other tank in your comp, like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Like the little
Top.
points.
So first thing is understand translocator. So if you're playing over here to like you know like look for a hack or whatnot, translocate to a point where like you know go back to a point where the fight's still gonna happen. You don't want to translocate somewhere like you know over here, right, or like somewhere over there. You want a second chance. If they force you out, you don't want to immediately make the fight a 6v5 for them. You want to make it a 6v6 again. That's first thing. Second thing is understand pathing. So like understand that where you want to engage should be based off of sort of like the environment. So you want to look for how do I explain this? Wait, are they running Sombra Goats or is it Sombra Goats for Sombra Goats or Sombra Goats for Zen Goats?
Say Sombra Goats versus Zen Goats. We're running the Sombra.
Okay. So, all right. Well, second thing I'd say then is understand to farm Diva a lot. Farm Diva and like understand how to, how do I explain this? I'm trying to explain certain things without going into depth. Yeah. So I was gonna say like if you're trying to build EMP, try and farm tanks. Diva's the easy one. Utilize high ground. When you look for EMP, if you're running Sombra Ana, look for EMP nades or EMP shatters. If you're just running Sombra, then just look for EMPs. You need to understand how to basically maximize your farming. Like I'm using maximize because it's just like a really good word. Maximize your farming based off of the like fights. So like if you know like this is second spawn, right? They're gonna come out from here, right? Wait, yeah, it's there. And they're gonna come out from there, right? What you want to do is you want to try and farm here, and then you know they're going to come out another place. You want to make sure translocator's in a place where as soon as you translocate to it, that fight's going to start there. So you farm and then translocate. Or maybe you farm and then you EMP. So you sort of like understand how to like the difference between farming and EMP. You understand the difference of like basically winning off hacks. You also need to work on your hack priority and understand what alts they have, and then look for big hacks to get value out of that. Like if you hack the Ryan Shatter.
Hack priorities on a Goats matchup being number 1 Ryan, number 2 Diva, number 3 Lucio.
Sure. Depends on alts. First fight,
Okay.
maybe. I'd say Ryan, Zarya, then D.Va.
Okay. At what? And so don't even focus on hacking, Lucio.
It's too hard. It's a waste of time.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
for a lot of Overwatch League teams, for the supports, they would hide until the Sombra EMP. Should the Sombra actively go and find the supports before the EMP?
Say that again. Sorry, I got distracted by a DM. That was important. Say that again.
So like for a lot of Overwatch League teams, the supports would hide until the Sombra EMP
Yep.
so they can get the
Yep.
support ults off. Should the Sombra actively go find the supports?
They should be aware where they are. And the biggest thing is understanding then again distance between the supports and what support it is. So if it's Lucio, if you can try and break the like LOS so they don't get beat, that's good. If it's Zen, then you want to try and force them really far back or force them to trance if possible. It depends what Sombra. If you're running like, you know, Ana, Sombra, Ana, then, you know, you're fine because you can just anti. But if you force them their Zen really far back, that when you EMP and they're like playing really close, right, that their trance, because the trance, you consider the trance distance to the team, right? So if you force that Zen really far back and you EMP when they're really close, and they're close to you, and that Zen has to trance from like maybe like a 2 or 3 second trance, they're not going to get value out of trance, right?
Right.
And then if you have both support ults, you probably want to keep them split. So you keep your Lucio and Zen split, and then from there you can get value. Because what you can do is you can keep your Zen closer and you keep your Lucio closer, but they're split. They won't get an EMP, and then, you know, whoever does get EMP, you just call it another one alts. So and you have a default, one of them default ults, but yeah, if none of them.
How is the rest of the team playing when you have Sombra Goats? Are you trying to play slow until she gets EMP?
Yeah, essentially.
Something I was wondering about the Grav Bomb. When you know they have Grav Bomb, do you want to hold your bubbles for the Grav Bomb? Or...
Yes. Always hold bubbles. In fact, if for example, let's say team let's just use this as an example. Wait, I lost my cursor. Let's say, you know, defending team over here. Yikes, an attacking team here, right? They go in, this team, then defending team grabs bombs. Attacking team Zarya says, I have no bubbles. When that happens, right, there's no point even trancing for the attacking team because it's already lost. Because bubbles are so important, right? Your Ryan will just get stunned or whatnot. Yeah. So
at that point, do you just have your Ryan just drop his shield and then just all die to the bombs? You don't charge?
Actually, it's actually a pretty good point. Why not? Well, I mean, no, because then
what's the disadvantage to doing that if your Ryan blocks?
Because
the bomb,
then you guys don't get all charge.
I guess, but like how, like if they're cleaning up the Grava anyways, and
also normally if you think about it, when a team attacks, they will like they'll grab you and their team will charge and the bomb comes after, right? So what's gonna honestly happen is the enemy team will probably get all charge if you drop the shield, because they'll attack first before the bomb goes off.
That makes sense. So you're gonna be feeding the charge anyways during the 3 seconds before the bomb goes off.
Yep.
So you might as well push the fight and just not burn ults.
Yep, 100%.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
And what do you do with the support ult if you didn't use it for the did you just use it aggressively?
One
push
second.
or reactively to save someone?
Just give me 1 second. Sorry, just crap. I have to go soon.
No problem.
Because apparently everyone else on the team staff members can't show up, and I'm the only one who can't show up, which is fine. But just puts me, because I was gonna say I'm gonna be like 5 minutes late, but I can't put that now because I have to be there. But yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, I unfortunately I can't answer any more questions. I really have to go. Like I'm gonna be late.
No problem.
Because I have to get their tryouts. We're doing trialing and stuff. But I love questions. Like I said, like DM me questions. Like I'll answer it. I probably won't answer it right now because I'm going from another scrim block, and then from there I'll be free, so I'll answer then. Cool. If you're not in my coaching Discord, check it out. I answer questions there. I do free weekly VOD reviews. And yeah. Okay. I am sorry,
Thanks
guys.
for the time.
Yep. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you, Natter.
Yep.
Should offer us a tryout. Come on.
Thanks.
He's a plot player.
Okay. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm really sorry we didn't get to the custom games today, but hopefully you guys learned a lot, and that's what matters. Okay.
Take care, dude.
All right.
Thanks,
Yep.
dude.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, guys. I don't mind streaming. If the other new team's fine streaming this scrim, it'll be a 4.4K or 4.5K scrim, so it'll be pretty big. Give me like a few seconds, because I need to like grab people in this. Hey guys, I'm here. I just need to move and like do a few things, and then I'll be back. Okay.
Alrighty.
I'll watch your stream until then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So chat. Let me quickly look at anything really important in chat. Like I said, I'm sorry for all the like spelling mistakes and everything. I'm semi-tired. You can imagine, coaching for multiple hours sort of gets you there. Thanks to you, ColoradoHOWL, again. For everyone who didn't know, ColoradoHOWL sponsored this. They, paid everything and they did everything for me. So thank you to them. If you don't know who they are, check out. You can DM me. I will give you plenty of information. T3A is a really cool guy. They do Overwatch tournaments. They do Super Smash Bros. Ultimate tournaments. They have Overwatch teams. And they're just a really cool community. So definitely check them out. And yeah.